Hello friends, we are back here again to discuss about the discrete time analysis of closed loop systems. What you see over here is a closed loop system, and here in this closed loop system, as you can very well see over here, you have first sampler over here which is sampling the set point and giving it to the control algorithm, and the function of this control algorithm is this is modeled as dz. This is the second sampler over here, and this sampler is going to the hold element, and till this point the signal was in discrete form, and after this it is now going to the hold element, and thereafter it has become in the continuous form over here. Similarly, this continuous signal is again sampled over here, and it again becomes into the discrete form, and it comes over here. So as you see, this portion is continuous and this all is in discrete form up to this point, and from this point onwards, as we apply the hold, this hold element is in continuous form. It is not in the discrete form. This we have to take care, and we shall be deliberating more on this hold element not being in discrete rather than being in the continuous time over here. And another thing which we notice over here is that we have disturbance which is coming over here. This disturbance is acting on the process through this model GD, and this Y2 part of the disturbance and this Y1 part of the process as manipulated variable is affecting the process through GP. These two will get added to get Y over here. So this Y bar is nothing but Y1S plus Y2S. This Y2 is nowhere in discrete time. It is all through in the continuous time. This is what we have to keep in mind all the time when we are going to do the discrete time analysis of closed loop systems. My dear friends, we will be moving step by step in this short and sweet presentation, and we see that once we have understood this closed loop system over here, there are some portions which are in discrete time, there are some portions which are in continuous time. This is what we have to see when we go in for the analysis of this closed loop system. We shall be developing certain closed loop transfer functions over here. Let us see one by one. It is very simple. If you follow it in a methodological manner, you won't face any problem. If you skip through two steps, then you might be in trouble thereafter. So just follow step by step and you will find it is very simple, though it looks to be very intimidating, and you will see that it's really very simple as such. So my dear friends, as I have already told you that Y bar is nothing but Y1 bar S plus Y2 bar S, as we had just seen. You can just have a look at it once again, that this Y1 and Y2, they get added to become Y, and this is what is shown over here, as simple as that. Further, if we take the Z transform, what will happen is we will get the output in discrete in Z transform will be given by Z transform of Y1 plus Z transform of Y2. It looks very simple. It has a small catch though. We will see what that catch is. But right now you see that this Y1, as you can see over here, this Y1, the Z transform of that is given by this hold multiplied by GPZ into CZ. You see, this is CZ, this is the CZ, this is this point. Up to this point it was the discrete signal, and this is getting multiplied by H into GP. Now H is the hold element and GP is the process which is modeled in S, and this modeled in S can be converted into modeled into Z, not directly, but first of all you have to multiply by H. So this product H into GP, this entire thing H into GP, that will become the total one transfer function for which you will be taking, or we will be taking, the Z transform of. It is not that we will take H, Z transform of H and Z transform of GP and then multiply. It is not possible. We only take first the multiplication of the transfer function of hold element and the transfer function of GP. These two transfer functions are multiplied, and then after multiplication, whatsoever is the resultant transfer function, we take the Z transform of that. As you can see over here, I once again clarify, it is not like H of Z into GP of Z. First of all, you multiply H with GP. Whatsoever is the resultant after multiplication, you take Z transform of that and then multiply by the input. Input to this is nothing but CZ, and from there you will get this part of Y1. Now it is in its Z transform, so YS we have taken its Z transform, and we will get this as the portion which will get into this part of the equation. What about this part of the equation? Let us see very carefully what is going to happen at this part of the equation. We will take the Z transform of that and we will write this part of the equation as Z transform of GdZ into dZ. But somehow if we think that if this we want, or if we think that we should write it like GdZ into dZ and replace this portion by this portion, that will not be the correct way. The reason is that the disturbance is not a sampled value signal. Disturbance is a continuous signal. It is not coming at any point. There is no sampler. We do not apply any sampler. Disturbance enters into the process in a very ekdam se chup chupa ke it comes into without any notice from different parts, and as such it cannot be said that it's getting entered into it through some sampler. So because of this fact, we cannot make use of this equation over here, and this is the reason what we are going to do is now we are just going to put the value of this Y1 S, taking the Z transform of that, plus Y2S taking the Z form of that. This portion is to be replaced by this part, and you can see this portion is to be replaced by this part and not by this part. I have given you the reason why not, because disturbance is nowhere getting sampled. Disturbance is just getting added to the process as a form of noise in the form of disturbance, as it is named so. So once we do this substitution, we see how the equation becomes in the next slide. How we get the value of YZ over here, and when we see the error, this error is nothing but set point minus the feedback. As you can see, this is nothing but set point minus feedback. This error has to be multiplied by dz. What was dz? Dz was the algorithm which was used in the controller. So we multiply by this and that becomes the controller output CZ. So we see that CZ is nothing but this error which is multiplied by the control algorithm. So the controller block is working on the error, and this error is nothing but YSP minus YZ. So this thing over here, I can simply put the value of this CZ over here in this equation. So when I do so, I get this lengthy equation. It looks a little bit scary, but as you see over here, this yz or yz is coming over here, and this is coming over here also. So when you open the brackets and you transpose it on this side, this negative sign will become plus, yz will be the common thing over here, and whatsoever is that, we again make a cross multiplication and bring it on the right hand side, and it goes to the denominator. So as simple as that, we get equation which looks very similar to us, because earlier also we have been dealing with these kind of equations which has a change in set point, which has the disturbance acting on it. And so as we had seen earlier, we will again see that sometimes we go in for a regulatory problem, and regulatory problem this dz is 0, and we will go in for the servo problems, right? And in servo problems, as such, we have only the set point is changing, and this dz is 0, you will have a servo problem. On the other hand, if you have a regulatory problem, regulatory means that there is no change in set point, we are only regulating only one thing, and that is we are taking care of this dz. So in that case, this ysp will be 0, and we will be working with only dz. And all these things, in case you are confused at this moment of time, we will be showing you in the next slide how we model the regulatory as well as the servo problems over here. At this point, I can simply say that whatsoever is in the denominator, you can see this is going to give us the characteristic equation. I put this denominator is equal to 0. I get the poles, and determining the nature of the poles, which we'll be discussing in the next video, we shall be getting the stability of the system, whether the system is stable or not. I can give you a hint. Here we have a unit circle, and the case the poles are within the unit circle, the system is stable. The case the poles go outside the unit circle, the system becomes unstable. But that is not the point of discussion at this moment of time. We shall be dealing with this in the next video session. Hence, as I told you that in case of servo problem, there is no disturbance, so we have only this part of the equation which is left. And in case of regulatory problem, we don't have any change in the set point, so only this part of the equation is left. That is how we model, that is how we do the discrete time analysis of closed loop systems. And here again, we have certain things to be considered very carefully. And the first thing which is to be considered over here is that we see over here that we have this element GDS into DS, and we are taking Z transform of this. How do we take Z transform of this? One way is that if you know how to convert from S transform to Z form, that is one thing you can do. And let us call this thing as Y to S. And in case you want to convert this from Laplace transform to the time domain, you can simply take Laplace inverse of that, and the moment you get that, taking the Laplace inverse, you will get the value of y to t. And now that you have y to t, you can take its Z transform. So you don't want to convert from S to Z directly, you can convert S to t, and then you want to convert later from t to Z. That is how it can be done in this case. And finally, what I had been telling you again here, this is the final remark over here, that we don't have any separate Z transform of H. You have the Z transform of GP in S domain. You take its hold, that is, this is to be multiplied by the transfer function of hold. Whatsoever is the final outcome of multiplication of H into GP, that combined thing is to be converted into Z or Z transform. And if you don't know what is the transfer function of H in S transform, in S domain. In that case, I'm just telling you that for zeroth order hold, which is the most popular zeroth order hold, what we see is that the transfer function is given by 1 minus e the power minus s into sampling time t divided by s. So this whole thing is multiplied by GP. GP can be, let us say, 1 upon S plus 1 or whatsoever. So the multiplication of this, whatsoever is final multiplication outcome, we take Z transform of that. There is nothing like Z transform of zeroth order hold system. This mistake we must not commit, as some students tend to, as some engineers tend to, as some designers tend to at some stage in the initial stages. They will not ever come to any result. The reason is, once again, that there is no Z transform of zeroth order hold, since it is not a discrete time system. It is a continuous time system meant to model reconstruction of discrete time signal into continuous time signal as such. Hope I have made this point very clear right from the beginning to this point about this hold element in this discrete time analysis of closed loop systems. Friends, in case you have any queries regarding this analysis of the discrete time for the closed loop systems, you can always contact me, and I thank you for being with me once again. I wish you have a safe stay, and I hope that you have enjoyed learning. Bye bye.